that when you're in an up spiral, your cells thrive. We're going to be doing some work on a cellular level a little bit later on. But to know that your cells thrive really means this in terms of the way we look at it. And that is, what's really important at a cellular level is that your cells take in what they need, and probably even more importantly, that they expel what they don't need. This getting out the toxins. And thriving at a cellular level really means that our cells are healthily doing those things in an up spiral. In an up spiral, along with that thriving idea, we're also setting a vibration. You'll hear me talk over and over again lots more and more and more about this vibration thing. That your cells are responding to a vibration. That they're responding to a harmony, they're responding to a hum. We're going to talk about what is the ambient hum of your life. Where do your thoughts and feelings take you in terms of this background soundtrack of your life? If we go backwards, we talked about the fact that everybody who is in an upward spiral scores higher on every test of well-being. Everybody in an upward spiral scores higher on every test of life satisfaction. Just that alone ought to tell us how important an up spiral is and how important positive emotion is, which was one of our main learning goals in the last class. Along with that is that you're more creative in an up spiral. Not just creative in terms of fluff and puff and you draw better pictures, but creative in terms of the overall solutions to your life. You have access to the broad repertoire, or say all of the strengths that you have access to. Whereas in a downward spiral, we know that people don't even access their strengths. They access the opposite of their strengths. They access their weaknesses. We play to our weaknesses in a down spiral. So creativity has to do with you using what's going to be an explosive time we're going to have in this class when we get you into testing your strengths, finding out what your strengths are, and really using what's under your skin. There isn't any problem that you have that you can't deal with the strengths that you have in your life. But usually when we're having to solve problems, we are oftentimes solving problems in a down spiral. We're solving them in a negative, from a negative perspective, in a negative place. And we oftentimes don't use our creativity that would happen to us in an up spiral if we were solving our problems, or what we're going to call our challenges and issues, in an up spiral. If we did it all the time from that place, rather than establish or build the habit patterns of being in a down spiral. All of us have habits that are playing to our weaknesses, even addictions that are habits of playing to our weaknesses, that are really the opposite and other side of our strengths. You will not play to your strengths in a downward spiral. You play to them only in an up spiral. And when you're in an up spiral and you use your strengths, you can do anything with any problem that there is in your life. And you can put that to the test after we get into strengths for a little while, after a little while. And finally, the first thing I told you is that you learn easy. You learn faster and you learn easier. Are you in an up spiral tonight? Yeah. How many of you are over 50? Over 50 in your up spiral, not your age, don't worry. Over 50 in your up spiral. Great. Everybody is over 50. You realize how significant that is? I could go to almost any group in Rancho Mirage, any group in this country, and I would find the majority of the people in that group in a down spiral, or at least teeter-tottering in an up and down spiral. Because what we usually do, where we live our lives, what we're conditioned to, is a certain place here. We're afraid to stay up here, which is our emotional set point or our happiness set point, because we have these ideas that if we do, you got to suffer. So we cooperate with the suffering mentality and think that, I couldn't sing a love song unless I've had an enormous, miserable breakup. I mean, really, And that's just not true. You can sing a love song because you're in love. You don't have to experience the down for the up to happen. But most of us are living lower than our emotional set point, lower and down, and in a and we have a range down here, and we go up and down between that range. We volley up and down between that range. And what you're learning is that you can stay in this up spiral all the time. You are better off, far better off, to stay in this up spiral all the time. You can live your life in the up spiral with whatever grief, whatever loss, whatever goes on in the up spiral. We'll give you more evidence of that as we move along. There's no reason, we have no reason to be in a down spiral. Pessimism, we think, has a job to do, and I talked to you in the last lecture. You can go back and review those notes about some of these people who have done research or think that pessimism serves an important purpose. The only purpose that pessimism serves is that it may help you think more sharply if you don't know your strengths and you're not playing to your strengths. If you learn your strengths and play to your strengths, you do not need the pessimism of the down spiral to be able to do that. So that's a review of the up spiral and the down spiral. You have a lot of exercises to get you and to keep you in this up spiral of health. It's the up spiral of preventive health. We're really working with preventive medicine, preventive health, as we're talking about this up spiral. To have a group of people, all of you, who are over 50 and in this up spiral, you see, a lot of you get bothered. You get very picky after you've had a little bit of this experience. It's, oh, I'm only a 70 today. Well, that's good because you're a 35 when you came in. You were a 40 when you came in, or you were boying back and forth. To be in the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s of this up spiral is no small thing. That's a really very important thing. 80 and 90, when we start getting into this 80 and 90 range, you are feeling really good. You are really learning to manage your life and all the variables that we'll be talking about throughout the duration of this course in this 80 to 90 range. So if you're at a 70, you know, good for you, wonderful, get higher than that. But if you're in a 60 and a 70 and you've got that lean going on, as long as that lean towards the positive is happening, it's going to attract more of that lean. You're going to find yourself moving more in that emotion. We do have to talk about the negative habit patterns of the past, and we're going to do that. We're going to use some of the very significant literature in OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, because, I mean, face it, all of us are a little OCD. All of us have got these little OCD things that we do, particularly in our thinking and particularly in our self-talk. You know, the self-talk that goes on in your head up here. You know what I'm talking about, that negative self-talk that goes on. If anybody out there talked to you like you talk to yourself in your head, you'd beat them up. You wouldn't talk to them. You wouldn't have anything to do with them. If anybody out there talked to you like you talk to you in your own head. And that's the obsessive part we're going to be looking at that causes us to pull back from and to experience some of those dips that are going to be a part of this learning spiral. But over and over again and again, the students who go through our classes and our work and go through coaching tell us, you know, I am not in a down spiral anymore. I don't experience a down spiral. I'm always at least over 50. And that's really wonderful. Tonight we're going to open another new set of learning outcomes. And there are two learning outcomes. There are two things you want to learn this evening. The first learning outcome that you want to learn this evening is, what is neuroplasticity? What is the place of neuroplasticity in the work we're doing, and why is it important for a coach or a mentor or a person or a minister to know about this whole business of neuroplasticity? The other thing that we want to introduce tonight is that your thinking and your feeling, what you are thinking and what you are feeling, changes the structure and nature of your brain.